these issues and do our best to show Christians how we can work together and how we can advance through the Word of God. We are real here, and sometimes we even rock the boat, but at the end of the day, we use the Bible and constantly ask the question, the all-important question, what does the Bible say? This is a discussion where all views contend, but they may not stand the what does the Bible say test, and certainly this is not a debate. So I know some people want to call in and argue for what they believe or their denomination, but you know what? We're taking this to another level. We're going to be one, we're going to work together, but we're going to we can share what we believe, but we're not going to argue our belief. So a special welcome to our listeners on love101.org, where we stream live, and welcome to those joining us via the Love 101 FM app, downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. Well, I know you're going to love this program. People call it each week and say they love the topics. And of course, it's a big part of who we are. So today, evangelism in the new norm. That's the issue today on The Rock. But before that, here's what Steve says. And I tell you, I've got a lot on my mind today, a whole lot on my mind today. Where do I start? Well, you know, personally, I never ever pass a police officer on the road when they're doing their spot checks or they're doing their work. I stop by and I thank them for the work they're doing. I offer them a blessing. May the Lord bless and keep you, which is the Aaronic blessing in Numbers chapter 6. Or I just thank them for what they're doing and pray for them. So I know some people want to. But the need for these officers is even more pertinent at this time because there's so much crime going on leading towards Christmas. So two things to discuss. One, take the time, especially in 2020, when everybody's been talking about the bad police in the world, take the time to stop and thank your officers for the good work they do. However, they are so much more needed at this time because crime during Christmas looks like a biggie for a lot of young men whose gangs are dying, whose leaders are being arrested. And so right now, I know that there are a lot of car thefts going on. I know a lot of women are losing their bags and their money. So I'm encouraging all of our listeners to be very, very careful. You know, open that third eye, that eye of prayer. Ask God to make you smart in what you're doing. Keep your eyes open and just ask God to protect you. The thieves are out there looking for your money, your hard-earned money, or the money of your children that are sending for you. So just be very careful. But I've got to talk about these thieves that are out there and these murderers out there during Christmas. I know in Spanish Town where I pastor, people have been telling me about people gassing their houses or leaving powders, people going in to rape people or to steal products from people's homes. Be very careful. But I'm taking a stand this morning against the corruption with our young people, our young men that are going out there to rob people during this Christmas time. You know what I think about Christmas? Christmas is a time of giving, not a time of stealing. So for all you thieves out there, I'm praying for you today. I'm praying for a turnaround, or I'm praying for a shutdown. That you on the bikes that are grabbing people's phones or people's money or people's bags, that you will get caught. Yes, I am praying for you. I'm praying that somehow you'll fall off your bike when you're riding off. I'm praying that somehow somebody will see you and take your picture. I'm praying that some camera will catch you somewhere, because Christmas is a time of love and Christmas is a time of giving. Secondly, last week I got a call from somebody in the States offering, well, actually came on my Facebook page at first, that there was an opportunity to get money for COVID people who were not working. I decided to investigate it. The message came to me on Facebook from a friend of mine. And so I followed through on it. I followed the guidelines. I made the request. And then once they told me what to do, I recognized that it was very similar to what the scammers normally do. So I called up my friend, King Stitchy. It was his Facebook page that they had cloned and were using. And I called up Stitchy. I said, Stitchy, did you send me a message about COVID and COVID money? And he said, no. Well, obviously, I love Stitchy. We talked for about an hour and a half, and he spoke into my life, and he told me about his good music and the awards that he has coming up. But of course, the story is that I really want to take the time to encourage people, especially the elderly people who are getting WhatsApp messages, Facebook messages, email messages to send your name and your account and your address so that people can steal your identity and try to steal your money. On this day, this is a very, very big day for me because I'm addressing stealing. These people seem very real. In fact, the page that I went to on Facebook had a female with some U.S. government administration information. And I could call the number. It was a professional office and everything. But I want to say once again, it sounded professional. It looks professional. But once they start asking you for your personal information and banking information and anything like that, trust me, folks, this is a scam. So please don't get scammed. If somebody comes up to you in my name on my Facebook page and start asking for money, listen to me. Steve Blair don't beg for money. I don't beg for your money. Never, ever, ever. Not even for your offerings. If you want to give, that's your personal thing. And when I'm on Love or on Bishop Davis's TV program, I may say, give some money to help the station. And I do encourage you. Make a pledge to Love or do something to help the gospel stations. But listen to me, I'm not begging you anything. So if you get my Facebook page and it's asking you for money and for your identity, it's a scam. It's a scam. Look out for these scams during Christmas. Another thing that's taking place in terms of theft, I've got to really mention this one because I took the time to do some research and I was very, very surprised, especially in today's Gleaner, to see that JPS is saying that in Jamaica, and in one community at least, but in Jamaica, $26 billion worth of electricity theft takes place each year. That is something, because what that does is that says that those of us, and I'm going to say this very strongly, those of us born again Christians who are not stealing are being charged more. Those of us good Jamaicans who are not stealing are being charged more because many people are stealing electricity. Now, that's not good. That's not good because most of us don't work enough to even look after ourselves, much more to be charged that which is being stolen by others. Now, if you are a Christian and you've hooked up a wire, which means that you're stealing electricity, listen to what this does. If JPS is losing $26 billion in electricity theft, it means that they do have to pay for what they are taking and consuming. It's just like those of us who come and credit and don't pay. In the business I run, Christians come and pastors come and they get tickets or they get just different things for travel, which is what I do, and they don't pay me in time or don't pay me at all. Now, that's not good Christian living. So any form of theft in one community, Riverton, the JPS says 2.2 million illegally per year, 2.2 million US dollars illegally per year. And overall for Jamaica, 178 million US, which is $26 billion. Now, I have a good friend. His name is Omar Srini with JSEF, and he mentions some of the situations faced that have been leading to the theft. He says, from our perspective, he'll expound on some of the significant issues in today's Gleaner. He writes, he says, the antagonistic relationship between the utility service and residents of low-income communities. Well, you know, Mr. Srini, that's no reason for people to steal, but I do understand. Number two, he says the cost barrier for house wiring in vulnerable communities. So yes, you may be stealing and you will have a reason, but maybe we can reach out. Maybe you can reach out to places and see how they can help you to get your wiring done. 3, the high level of skepticism and distrust towards the regularization process. And 4, the socio-economic realities of affordability. At the end of the day, once you are a child of God, and I must say this, and I'm going to say this strongly as a pastor as I get ready to wrap up. If you are a child of God and you are stealing in any way, shape, or form, what you are doing is not just against the society, not just against JPS, but against your relationship and faith and trust in God. So I know it's hard. I know it's difficult. And I keep pointing churches, let's try to see what we can do to help people. But we're going to have to step out and make a difference. With that in mind, I should mention that there is a situation right now that is beneficial to low-income families, not regarding the electricity, but regarding education. And I note that the Ministry of Education has said that there is no COVID cases found among students in their pilot in-person teaching process. If that's the case, then we should be able to capitalize on this process until school starts by allowing churches and others to facilitate children in our communities with our internet and enable them to be able to study and to do their work until schools reopen. With that in mind, I should also mention that the government has made the possibility, let me see here, it says they're opening up the door for 36,000 students to get tablets. The last I heard on December 4th was that only 14,000 applications were made, and that distribution has begun, but not enough applications. Are your children in need of a tablet? Well, let me give you the phone number and let me give you the information as I wrap up. It says you can email oyod@moey, Ministry of Education and Youth.gov.jm, oyod@moey.gov.jm, or call 888-OYOD-NOW, which is 888-696-3669. Well, that's all the time I have. I do have more stories I want to talk about, like the letter in the paper that talks about that all the songs across Jamaica that our culture has allowed with guns and violence should be removed from the airwaves. Big up to that writer in the Gleaner. I'll talk about that next week. But I'll be right back after this break. I want to hear what you have to say. All the scamming must stop. All the stealing must stop. And we need to do our best to apply for the help that is out there to further our children. We'll be right back here on your program, The Rock. I'm Pastor Steve Blair.
Students, we're live. You want to find this Testimony Tuesday, December 8th, for an enriching encounter through powerful stories. Stay tuned for prayer blast at 2 o'clock. It's time the evidence at 2:15. Michelle Hall will share a testimony of coming back from a setback. She got pregnant at age 15, battling rejection, suicide, and failure. But God turned her life around. Then at 3 p.m. we go beyond the pulpit of senior pastor Bishop Aubrey Lewis of the Anointed Deliverance Apostolic Ministry in Montego Bay. That's a live 1 to 5 on the family station. This Testimony Tuesday here on Love 101, the family station.
Hey, my peeps, get this for the regular. Your HIV status if you consider the use of a test once a year. Just 15 minutes first, that got clear. Cause it might not show up on your timeline and you learn too late, so you're out of time. A progressive future, one little, really long life, our story. You're here?
Remember, update your status in a real life. Go HIV test today.
Just 15 minutes say status clear. Really long life, our story. Really long life for you, coming from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
This is current. This is news. This is what's happening in Jamaica and around the world. Current affairs, government activities, the latest news in education, health, the economy, and more. Stay up to date and stay current with Love 101, 6:30 a.m. Our morning news. 10:30 a.m. of mid-morning updates. 1 p.m. highlights in the news inside the Alive Exchange. 5 p.m. Dateline News. 6:30 p.m. religious news highlights. And don't miss News Review with Clyde Edwards on Sundays at 7 p.m. This is Current. This is News presented by Love 101 FM in partnership with My Jamaica Today. Only 3 clicks away. Stay in the know and in the now on Love 101, the family station.
This Christmas, don't just share the chair with you and yours, share the clean with Speed Queen. Shop at Singer from November 2 to December 31, 2020 and purchase any Speed Queen washer or dryer for your chance to win. 2 lucky winners will get back the purchase price of their washer or dryer. Then to top it off, the first winner selected will also get the chance to choose a children's home to be the recipient of the Speed Queen washer for free. Share the love, share the clean with Speed Queen and Singer this Christmas. Must be 18 years or older to enter. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Ready, set, register now as a private candidate for the May-June 2021 sitting of the CXC and Cambridge exams at the Overseas Examinations Commission. Act now. CXC registration ends Wednesday, December 9, 2020. Cambridge registration ends Tuesday, January 19, 2021. Call 876-618-3721 for details. The Overseas Examinations Commission, providing educational support for over 130 years with integrity.
Here's a reminder that you're inside the Rock, brought to you by the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Healthy people, healthy environment.
Nikki, baby, some water. Yes, welcome back to The Rock. I am Pastor Steve Blair. And of course, we do want to hear your comments and all that I've had to say today. This is the program where I've really hit out on scamming and stealing. A lot is going on in terms of scamming and robbing elderly people around the world, but now not just around the world. They're scamming even Jamaicans, and they've tried to scam me, and they're trying to scam you, and they're trying to scam everybody. They want to steal your money.
Oh my, no.
So just want to share with you some of what is being said on Facebook so far this morning. You can send in your WhatsApp messages. I have the lovely Nadine Blair in office and studio who will be reading those, and just want to encourage you to send in your messages and to call 968-8327, 968-8328, or send in your WhatsApp messages to 997-3125. That's 997-3125. where you can share your comments on what I've just said. Now, somebody's been asking me to repeat the phone number for the tablet program that is taking place with government. So once again, it's 888-696-3669. That's 888-696-3669. And it looks like a very good program where they're giving vouchers for parents to go and get tablets. The value of the voucher is $20,000, and I'm told that this is it looks like a very good program because they've only gotten 14,000 applications up until 3 or 4 days ago, and from what they are saying here, they're willing to work with 36,000. They're willing to give 36,000. So going to Facebook, I hear Ansel Robinson saying amen to what I was saying earlier. Good morning, Mas Ansel over there in New York. Julie Richards, true, bro. Give, not steal. I'm praying for them too. It needs to stop. And yes, some of the guys out there, I do recall being told by a gunman several years ago when I was the executive director or the national director of Youth for Christ, came to my office looking for food for his daughter. And he says, Pastor Blair, I don't want to use my gun. I don't want to steal. I've been trying to find work. I can't get any work, but my daughter needs to eat. So if you're in that position, young man, and you know you're doing stuff that you don't want to do in order to look after your family, well, I'll be giving my number later. We'll try to find a way where we can send you to people to help you And it really begins with you making yourself better, educating yourself, developing a skill, doing things. But I know there are immediate needs, and there are also immediate ways to help you. So Carleen Eccleston McConough says the youths too need help. Kathleen Smith, how can I advise? OYOD at, so the email OYOD@moey.gov.jm is the email. OYOD@moey.gov.jm is the email. And I've also given you the phone number again. Pleasant morning to Nadia, Marlene, and Marvia, and all the others that are on Facebook. Marlene, who often writes on Facebook, says, Pastor Blair, some church pastors and their members are stealing JPS Lite. That would not be good. That would not be good at all. And so we need to make the changes there to improve the situations. Nadine, are there any comments in studio at this time?
Well, we have a few who were asking about the tablet program. So I sent, hearing you, sorry?
Go ahead.
We have a few who were asking about the tablets. So I sent the numbers that you gave a while ago. And then we had this comment. Let me see.
Good morning, Auntie Nadine. Pastor Steve, you would be surprised the amount of Christian with thief light. You would be so surprised. Remember, everybody say, Lord, challenge. Because no for we know the right and we do the wrong. Yeah?
I'd be surprised too.
Yes, and that's true. I had an occasion this week where I had to make a decision as to doing the right thing, and it never became a hard decision. It's going to be costly, but as a child of God, we must make the right decisions. And as my father once said to me many years ago, it's not about pleasing him, my father, it's about pleasing God. So whatever we do, we should step out each day to please God. And that has stuck with me throughout my life. Can't say that I always end up doing the right thing, but because of a repentant heart, I go back to God. And then because of repentance, I'm encouraged by the Holy Spirit to do the right thing. So every child of God must do the right thing. Marvia says, so true, Pastor. Let me just give you another comment from Facebook. Thank you to all those who are joining us on Facebook from around the world. Carleen says, youths are being scammed also. My son got scammed $3,000. I wonder if thieves just feel that they can feed off and live off people who have worked so hard to just try to get through life. And a lot of people have been saving to try and buy something after the U.S. Thanksgiving and Black Fridays and moving towards Christmas. As they get on the road or they go to the bank and get some money, somebody jumps in and steals that money. So I want to encourage you, keep your eyes open, look around you. Does anybody look suspicious? Even if they're not bothering you, protect somebody else. All right? Let's see if there's anything more from Auntie Nadine before we go to the break. We have the news coming up.
All right, so let's hear from Winston.
Morning, pertaining to the scamming. If I don't enter any game or anything that is going on, nobody can come and say, no, win this. And so, yeah, man, so if you don't enter anything, you don't supposed to expect him to win something. You understand? Blessings.
Not necessarily true. Once you're on the net, and sometimes in some other people's mailing system, some of these guys get access, and that's where the problem is. So I'm on Facebook. I'm on Facebook. I never made any request for COVID, but somebody cloned Stitch's page, and because I am friendly with Stitchy, they wrote to me and asked me to apply for COVID grants. And being a pastor, since I'm always trying to find ways to help people, I was directed to different channels, and at that point, I could see specifically that this was a scam. Well, thank you for your messages. I don't know if there's any more, but it's time for the news.
All right, thank you so much. You tune to Love 101 FM, the family station. Since 11:01, we invite you to stay with us for our mid-morning news.
You want to find this testimony Tuesday, December 8th, for an enriching encounter through powerful stories. Stay tuned for prayer blast at 2 o'clock. It's time the evidence at 2:15. Michelle Hall will share a testimony of coming back from a setback. She got pregnant at age 15, battling rejection, suicide, and failure. But God turned her life around. Then at 3 p.m. we go beyond the pulpit of senior pastor Bishop Aubrey Lewis of the Anointed Deliverance Apostolic Ministry in Montego Bay. That's a live 1 to 5 on the family station. This Testimony Tuesday here on Love 101, the family station.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5 more days to go before Hope Rock Season 2 with the Christmas edition. You heard right. Hope Rocks is on your to-do list starting this Saturday, December 12th, and you can't afford to miss it. Be sure to tune in for the festivities, music, and the worship. We are ready, and you should be too. Hope Rocks, the virtual worship experience, brought to you by Love 101, the family station.
We do apologize for the delay in the start of our mid-morning news updates. No COVID-19 cases so far in school reopening. The Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, in a release on Monday, said that according to data reported by the Ministry of Health and Wellness, no student nor staff in the pilot schools reopened for the face-to-face learning have tested positive or show symptoms of the coronavirus. The release further said the 17 schools that were selected to participate in the pilot of face-to-face teaching commenced classes on November 10 and 11 and have been continuing since then with no reports of health concerns. The information from the ministry comes a week after a report raised eyebrows about school children who had tested positive for COVID-19. More than 800 children were reported to have contracted the disease, but this was not related to the period of the face-to-face pilot. Youth footballer Kyle Butler claims to have proof. The drama continues as former national youth footballer Kyle Butler posted a cryptic tweet yesterday as he prepares for a legal battle against his father, coach and manager Craig Butler, who he has accused of physically injuring him. He tweeted, "Expect a response that is full of lies and people coming out to defend him." The young Butler continued tweeting, "This is the world we live in. I have all the proof in my hands." On November 30, Kyle reported to the police an alleged assault by his father and tweeted pictures of his arm with the lacerations he claimed were inflicted by Craig. He has since retained Queen's Counsel Tom Tavares Finson to represent him in the matter. Georgia recertifies Biden as the winner after Trump-ordered recount fails. The state of Georgia has recertified its presidential election results after a second recount, which was requested by outgoing President Donald Trump. However, it has been confirmed once again that Joe Biden has won the state. Biden took the state by more than 12,000 votes in last month's ballot, creating history as he is the first Democratic presidential nominee to win the state of Georgia in nearly 3 decades. And those are the stories on the watch list at this time in Love FM's news package, written and produced by Jamaica's first digital media house, My Jamaica Today, only 3 clicks away. I am Nadine Blair. You're tuned to Love 101. We now bring you back to the program The Rock, brought to you by the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Over to you, Steve.
Yes, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to your program. It's called The Rock. And can I say good morning? Good morning to all the listeners out there, those of you in St. Elizabeth. I get more calls from St. James and St. Mary, more than anywhere else. People calling for prayer. But a special good morning to you. If there's a topic you'd like to discuss, a topic that has the church on different sides of the fence, let us know. And if you have the spiritual passion, knowledge, and background, and would like to be considered as a special guest on this program, well, you can call in and let us know, whether you call the station 968-9597 or you call me 876-295-9141. We're willing to have you on the program and have you talk about your church, your belief, your denomination, or something that can benefit the people of God across Jamaica. Want to remind you, as we go through the program today, you can send in your WhatsApp messages, 876-997-3125. Keep your WhatsApp voice notes to between 30 to 45 seconds. Turn the radio down while you're speaking so that you don't hear Pastor Steve or our guest in the background. And also, you can call in. We'd love to have some very special calls today because the topic on evangelism is going to be a very big one. Those calls can come into 968-8327 or 968-8328. Well, can we evangelize as normal today? Well, that's the topic. That's what we want to talk about today. Can we evangelize as normal during this COVID period? With all the things going on around the world, what's the new norm? After all, it's been centuries since evangelization began. It's different times, isn't it? Isn't it time for a change, or are we just being stubborn and boring and not understanding the times we're living in? Evangelizing in the new norm is the topic today. Post all your comments on this topic on our Facebook Live, The Rock broadcast, or send us a WhatsApp message or voice note at 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Rock. We'll share your messages with the program and to all our listeners across Jamaica. This is The Rock, and with me is the one, the only, my neighbor, my friend. His church just across the road from mine. When I say across the road, a stoplight or two. Bishop Dr. Rowan Edwards, host pastor of the Lighthouse Assembly Spanish Town Church in St. Catherine. And of course, I have to say it this way, the father of Jermaine Edwards. And wherever I go, people say, the son of Bishop Harold Blair. And when he would come to Cayman, he'd say, you're the father of Steve Blair. So Bishop Rowan Edwards, the father of Jermaine Edwards, and in his own right, Bishop Pastor of the Lighthouse Church, a humble servant of God with passion, a passion for souls. He operates in the fivefold ministry and has been the chief architect behind many transforming social and spiritual activities in our area of Spanish Town and St. Catherine. And if you listen to him on our last time we had him on the program, we figured out why he's such an important person in Spanish Town because of all that he's been through. He's the author of 4 books, Choose Your Man, Exposing the 27 Oppressive Spirits, 100 Suggestions on Dating, Gratitude Normal Journal, and chairman of various committees, father of internationally known gospel singing superstar Jermaine Edwards. Bishop, I didn't know about those books. Welcome.
You need to come to my library.
Well, maybe we need to do a program on dating. You have a book on dating. I'm gonna pull you up for that one and make sure my producer Kathy Gale puts you down for sometime in January so we can talk about dating and get the young people. I'm gonna have you on one week and have the president of Youth for Christ on another week so we can spend some time.
I didn't tell about this other one though, you know.
Which one is that?
the things that the 50 things that you need to know about your man.
Wow.
50 things you need to know about your man before marriage.
Wow.
I'm doing the one about woman now.
Okay. Well,
things on the making.
Well, I tell you, well, how soon before you finish that book about the woman?
Well, we're working on it. We're working 2 books now, and as soon as we're finished with them, these books takes a while to write, but yes. I hope that before the end of 2021, we'll have them on the market.
Okay. All right, Rev. Evangelism in the new norm. I did some research.
Have Lawrence Madden online, if you notice.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Madden. How are you? His mic's on mute, but we'll get to him in a minute. I do want to make some points here before I start sharing with you, Bishop Edwards. When I was at Youth for Christ, and also some of the studies that I saw then said that between 5% to 35% of Christians in a 6-month period do not share the gospel at all. And in fact, many people believe that the sharing of the gospel belongs to only people like you and me, people who are pastors. So many members don't believe that they have a responsibility to share the gospel, and others don't also see that the ability to share the gospel comes through in our lifestyle. So I spoke this morning about Christians stealing electricity, for instance. So this whole thing about evangelism, before we even get to the evangelism in the new norm, why do we suffer as a faith, a Christian faith, in sharing this gospel about the one whom we have faith in, the good news of Jesus Christ?
Thanks for that question. It's a very important question, especially in this time of COVID. So Blair, I think the problem lies in the fact that the way how we are cultured as a church.
Yeah.
The way we're cultured, we have drifted away from the pattern that Jesus set in scriptures as to how the believers should operate. If you notice, when he came to earth, the way how he did evangelism as God, he sent out people 2 by 2. One time he sent out all of his disciples, go out there and witness for me, tell people about me. But we have changed the format. The format that we're using now has drifted so far away from what the Lord taught us. Because here are we with thousands of people before us every Sunday morning or every Saturday morning, and we preach to them. But what Jesus did with his disciples, he taught them. You never see where in scripture where he preached to his disciples. He preached to the scribes and the Pharisees and persons who don't know God. But where his disciples are concerned, he taught them how to reach the world around them. So I think that's the problem that we're faced with. And that's why I think God has to disrupt the way how we are functioning. It's not the first time he locked the church, the church down or the temple, because in 586 BC, he locked the temple down because of the way how the people were doing things. And again, in the New Testament, he came to earth and whipped the people out of the temple because of the way how they were doing things. And I think this happened, the COVID thing happened. And I think God literally permitted it because he wanted to teach his church a lesson. That for too long, we've just been in the 4 walls. Too long, we've just been fighting each other. Too long, we're just having too many people before us and just preaching to them and not teaching them how to evangelize. And so I think that all of this is happening to get a message to the body of Christ. And I tell you this, since many of the churches have been closed down, we're reaching more people now because people are finding ways and means how to get on the social media and reach people. So I think the reason why we are not reaching people the way we ought to reach them, Jamaica should be fully evangelized. We should never have any inch in this country without people knowing much about God. Yes.
If I can mention here, I believe that most people know about God in Jamaica. But I think in terms of pastors and churches, we should identify that what we're facing here are issues where we are going wrong and issues where our membership are wrong. So you identified our strategy has been wrong in terms of sometimes our teaching, for instance, and the way we've approached the gospel. I know
that's one aspect of it.
That's one aspect. But then look at the other aspect. A man called me the other day and said to me, his wife, A, B, C, D, E, and he's tired of this and he's tired of that. And the whole thing comes down to he says he'll never come to church, right? Now with the new norm, the church comes to him because we have more services in the home thanks to Zoom. But at the end of the day, the whole aspect of what we call evangelism can be so much more than what we preach, but how we live and how we share with our friends and our family. And so many of us don't have the respect of those around us to receive what we say we're living.
Yes. No, as I said before, when you started off, you said that there's roughly 10% of Christians who actually share the gospel. Am I sure that's what you said?
Yes.
Yes, which is so true. Do you know how many pastors are dying in the pulpit and got sick and have heart attack around the pulpit, preaching their hearts out? Why pastors are getting gray so young? Why they're dying so fast? It's because they have a set of people around them who just want to hear preaching.
Yes.
And they push for that to satisfy them, and they go home and say, "Wow, preacher preached today, but what did you learn? What did you garner? What did you get out of it?"
Yes.
They can't tell you. So we ought to be blamed too. We ought to blame because we have not cultured our people. Once I have to lock down the old church, that's my personal experience. Lock it down and said, let's forget about singing for a couple Sundays. Let's forget about, us coming together and play music. I said, let's stop that. Let's look at the reason why we're here. Why are we here in the church? Is to win others for Christ. That's the basic thing. We ought to be where the people are. What we were faced with is that people are coming to church and not stopping to check with the person who is on the street. They'll pass the people Sunday after Sunday without even saying hello. And how can we train people to behave like this? When in other countries, people are risking their lives to put one Bible in the hand of people over there, right? Some people have rotten in jail just to bring a word to some people in some countries, but yet we are here as a free nation, as a free country, and yet the people who are in the church are so locked into themselves and just like to be churchy and not spending time to witness unto others. The Jehovah's Witness, if I may mention them, that's their motto, the witness aspect of them. And I went to London once, Sir Blair. And when I went to London, I've been there for 3 weeks. I'm taking buses at that time and taxis, and I'll be standing at bus stops, and I'm sure that many Christians pass me. Do you know the only person who ever stopped by to witness to me is a Jehovah's Witness?
Yeah.
In London. The guy came to me and said, hey, how are you, sir? And he heard my accent. And the next thing he asked me, wow, what about Brian Lara? Because he realized I'm from the West Indies. And the next thing he continued conversation until he said, who can solve the world's problem? And the next thing he showed me the book Awake. I wish Christians, all Christians could have that kind of boldness to talk about Jesus anywhere we go, on any corner, on any community. Just talk about Jesus. But we're lacking in that department. And I think God is sending a message to his body here on earth when he allowed COVID-19 to come. So he opened us up more to the world around us.
I really don't mean to harp on this, but you made a point that is so important. If the culture of the Kingdom Hall, Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Hall, is that their members have to share, if the culture of Mormonism is that their members have to be missionaries and share, and they are doing it, it therefore says that something is wrong with our culture.
Yeah, the Muslims, they don't play.
Right.
They train their children to be Muslims. They reach out to the community around them. I mean, I was in Wales some time ago, and man, the Muslim mosque is just beside the church that I was ministering, the New Testament church, amazingly. And the amount of Muslims that you see, they outnumber the church that is right in their community. Why? They reach out to people. The Muslims will kill because of their faith. But what are we doing with our faith? We have to begin to stop and think. I am trusting God that the great awakening before the coming of the Lord will be realized among us as Christians, and really take the time out to really begin to train our people. Can you imagine? So I came up with a program once, you see, where I said that if a church has 50 people in it, and each member take on 2 people for the year, at the end of the year, that church is supposed to have 150.
Yes.
If member takes on 2 people. So I said, what if you have 100 and each member take on 10 people for the year? If it boils down to 5 that they could really get, they target people and really go for them. But how many Christians are willing to do that? How many Christians are willing to just log people in a book and call them on a regular basis and try to mentor people? One of the things that we taught our church is that for you to bring people into the kingdom, first of all, you have to make friends with them. Find out if they have a problem. See if you can help to solve their problem. And then the next thing that you do is invite them to church. You know, one of my mentors is the great Billy Graham. And Billy Graham, he said he don't spend a lot of money on advertising for crusade. He said the people should utilize the whole aspect of bringing people to church. And when we start to mentor people, when we start to help people to come into the kingdom, one win one. I think that's the way that God wants us to go. And when I hope that we come back to normal, and I hope that the day will come fast, that we come back to the normal way that we normally do things. And I hope then that the eyes of the body of Christ, the church, will be open to, and the pastors ourselves, you know, will begin to teach the people just like Jesus did it. Just like Jesus did it. He taught his disciples, go out there and win people 2 by 2. I think we need to do the same.
Yes, sir. Very, very, very important that you mentioned Billy Graham. You know, I think our people are just so cultured in waiting for the Bishop Edwards and the Davises and the Bishop Blair and the VTs to set up a tent. And then they call that evangelism. And they see that as evangelism and as your responsibility.
As you mentioned the tent, because what Billy Graham said, and he has done evangelism for all of his life. He said the retainership on mass evangelism is 10 to 15%.
Yes.
And one of his memoirs, he said he wished he had done things differently because the retainership that he sees out of all the crusades that he has done is hard to recognize. Why? He says 90% of people who you witness to, who you do one-to-one evangelism, is in the church. But mass evangelism is only 10 to 15%. And it's a very serious situation.
Yes.
That each believer in the church, if we train them, and I pray to God that every believer in the church will become mission-minded. That you don't just come to hear a praise and worship. You don't just come to hear music. You don't just come to hear a preaching. You become the preacher. Your life become the message so people can listen to you and watch you and join you in worship.
Well, for most of our members, their neighbors don't even know they're saved. They play the same music. They live the same way. So what we're saying to Jamaica today is this thing of evangelism, of sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ, is more than the bishop's job. It's your job. I think where we fail, Bishop, and we're going to go to a break in a minute, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the new norm, and we're going to bring in Mr. Madden. But I think where we fail is that people are not prepared in churches. When I was at Youth for Christ, which Billy Graham started, by the way, the main thing I learned coming back to Jamaica and being involved in youth evangelism was that churches don't retain more than about 10 to 15% of the people who get saved in the churches. When I go to the brothels and pray with girls, and girls are speaking in tongues and crying out the name Jesus, I would find out that backsliders are everywhere in Jamaica because we've not discipled them, having evangelized them, but that's a different program. So we'll be right back. We're going to take a break. We're going to have an 11 o'clock a little program at 11. We're going to come back and speak about the new norms, the Zoom services, and what's being done with the Errol Ratry Association to kick the church forward into 2021 with evangelism. So we'll be right back here on Love with The Rock.
Where the student them we are. Where the student we are.
It's Tuesday, so that means Campus Connection is on. Be sure to tune in today, Tuesday, December 8th at 5:30 p.m. right here on the Family Station.
Bishop?
We speak with someone who's been giving their time and dedication.
How do you want us to bring in Mr. Madden? What will he
The
talk
Ministry of
about?
Education, Youth and Information Mathematics Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Kelly Anderson from the Irwin High School. Where the students them there? Because we want to hear from you, so be sure to give us to share with us how you are preparing for exams.
Chairman for the Errol Ratry.
That's Campus Connection. Listen every Tuesday at 5:30.
I can't hear you, must be because of Nadine's thing.
Station, Love 101.
That he will have a lot of information on Errol Ratry.
Okay, so Mr. Madden, about 11:15, after I start off talking with Bishop, I'll come to you.
Right. They live in filth and try and drag us all into spreading the disease of violence and corruption everywhere. But like a pack of rats, they can be eliminated with your help. If you have information on gangs, call Crime Stop on 311. This message is brought to you by Crime Stop and their marketing partners, Lime and NCB.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more days to go before Hope Rock Season 2, the Christmas edition. You heard right. Hope Rocks is on your to-do list starting this Saturday, December 12th, and you can't afford to miss it. Be sure to tune in for the festivities, music, and the worship. We are ready, and you should be too. Hope Rocks, the virtual worship experience, brought to you by Love 101, the Family Station. You're now invited to listen to A Moment for Parents, brought to you by UNICEF Jamaica Spotlight Initiative. Do what's right for the children. Call 1-888-PROTECT.
It no easy for us, pick me, but there's a lot we can learn from each other. It is important how we deal with our children's behavior. Sometimes our children will upset us, get on top of our nerves. Sometimes we only notice them when their behavior get out of hand. First off, stay calm. Getting upset and roughing up the child won't help. It may make things worse. Remember, we love our children. It is just the misbehavior we don't like. Spend time with your children, one by one. Find out what is happening with them. Discuss their behavior with them. Be firm with your instructions and corrections. Remember, you learn lesson one time. You may have to go over it again to help them understand. Praise your child when they do good. Love them up all the time. Make your child feel special and worthwhile. At the end of the day, take it from me. If you want positive results, you have to keep it positive.
Thank you for listening to A Moment for Parents, brought to you by UNICEF Jamaica Spotlight Initiative. Do what's right for the children. Call 1-888-PROTECT. You tune to Love 101, and this is The Rock, brought to you by the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Healthy people, healthy environment.
Welcome back. Welcome back to The Rock. I'm your host, Pastor Steve Blair, and with us today, Bishop Rowan Edwards from the Lighthouse Church in Spanish Town, St. Catherine. We're talking about evangelism, and we're moving into evangelism and the new norm. I did want to take the time to just encourage our Christians across Jamaica to think about evangelizing others. And as Bishop just said a while ago, even if it's one or two persons for the year, which is sad, but even that's a start. We could do one per month. Just tell somebody about Jesus. Show somebody the love of Jesus. Evangelism is so widespread, so wonderful, because I've always told people, if I died tomorrow or if I died today, I would have lived the most fulfilled life on the face of the earth, because I've spent my entire life just sharing Jesus Christ. And whether it's in the bars or the clubs or with people or church. Bishop, what I find for me is not even about preaching on Sunday morning. I've only preached in my church about 4 or 5 times since August. And this past week, this past Sunday, I had all my leaders share a 5-minute, 7-minute word. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to do something new in this church. Every Sunday, 2 members, randomly chosen the week before, will have to give a 5-minute exhortation. Nothing fully organized, but just share what God places on your heart, because people need to develop confidence to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. Well, the new norm, sir, COVID-19, living with us in 2020, and a lot of people looked at it very negatively. There's been no work for some, there's been loss for many, but at the same time, the gospel of the kingdom must still be preached.
Yes, sir. There is a passage of scripture that is taken from the book of St. John, chapter 21. If you read that passage, you get a whole lot of stuff coming from that passage.
You love me, yes.
The new norm. Mm-hmm. Because here was the disciples after the death of Jesus. They went on to go back to fishing, because Peter said, I go fishing, and everybody said, I come with you. They forgot what Jesus said, you'll be fishers of men. So they went back to normal fishing. But when they got there, Lord of mercy, it's like Jesus just pushed the fish away from them to teach the 21st century church a message. What was the message? The message that Jesus was trying to get to us in the 21st century, that we do things the normal way, but there's a new norm that we need to practice. So he came to them and said, hey, can I get some meat? And Peter the bright one said, hey, sir, we have no meat, we have no fish, because we caught nothing. We toiled all night and we got nothing. And Jesus, with his humor, he said, okay, fish, come back now. And he said, just cast the net. The net. If you notice the net on the other side. Now, two things we learn from that. The net speaks now of the internet. Cast the net on the other side. And then in those days, then they hardly have line fishing. It was always net fishing, because you have to, if it's net fishing, is more than one fisherman. It has to be several fishermen who goes out there to catch the fish. So they cast the net on the other side, and then all of a sudden they could not hold all the fish that they caught. It was so amazing. The message that I learned out of that is so profound, because the net almost broke. Why? Out of obedience, they now start to cast the net.
Wow.
They're using Facebook, they're using YouTube, they're using Zoom, and all of the different kind of networks that are out there.
That's true, Reverend. You know, I have a prayer meeting with my prayer group every morning at 6 and every evening at 6 on WhatsApp. You know, 7 or 8 of them call, and we just sit down every single morning, Sunday to Sunday, and they'll call and pray. And before that, we were together every day, but now we're together every day.
Yeah, well, you see what happens, Sir Blair? It's the same thing here. We started the morning prayer at 6 o'clock, Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube, and it's now spread around the world. Hundreds of people are coming on every morning. Yes. We're doing it now for the Ratchet Evangelistic Crusade. Because you see, we cast the net on the other side. T.D. Jakes, he said his following was just about 100,000 before COVID. But now he said his following gone way over 1 million. Over 1 million people following T.D. Jakes. And it's all because he cast the net. Using the internet is a powerful thing. So here we learn from it. The line fishing thing is not the best, because you're catching one fish. But the net fishing is vitally important. Within all the churches, can you imagine?
Yes.
If all the pastors in Spanish Town combine together and decide that we're going to use the net to win souls, can you imagine what we'll have?
We'll be in so many homes.
Yeah, I mean, we suggest to our fraternal here in Spanish Town, let's just forget about the whole aspect of a one church, one watch night thing. Let all the churches in Spanish Town combine for watch night, because you see what happened with watch night, we can't have it as usual. The new norm is that we can't have watch night this year. But if all the churches combine, can you imagine? If all the churches on Walton Park would combine, if all the churches in Montego Bay combine, if we do net fishing, I think it will be so profound to have the churches combine. Well, if not all the churches, but let 20 churches come together. If ever a time we need to start doing net fishing. One girl that was doing line fishing went to T.D. Jakes, and she brought thousands of people with her. T.D. Jakes says, today I implore you to run my network for me, because they are now combining their efforts. And because of that, T.D. Jakes now begin to grow more and more. So the whole aspect of line fishing, you know, it's good. I mean, the whole thing of one pastor go out there and do crusades. I mean, I remember when your daddy, Harold Blair, was running crusade in St. Elizabeth, and V.T. Williams was doing crusades in Mandeville under the big tent.
Yes.
Wow. Harold used to leave, and W.A. used to leave from St. Elizabeth and come to Mandeville and join V.T. Williams.
Yes.
But all of that has changed now. Can you imagine if all these mega churches combine their efforts and push together the evangelism? Jamaica will be totally touched with the power of God. But there's a new way that God is doing it. And I give God thanks for the medium of social media. because this is what God was trying to tell the church all along. We have not been utilizing the social media. This has been around for quite a number of years. Facebook has been here.
Yes.
YouTube has been here, but not many pastors were utilizing it. You see, we have left the airspace for so many other things. When do you know that the satellite systems are above us? If you make a call to me, it has to go up to the satellites before it hit my phone. And so the Prince of Persia has been operating in the airwaves and been downloading to earth, while Christians have just been on the earth. Hallelujah. We should have been up there a long time. We should have taken over.
We spent too much time complaining. We spent too much time complaining and saying that the devil's doing this and the devil's doing that. And Bill Gates and those people are using the internet, and there's porn on the internet. And so instead of looking at the opportunities that God has given to us, we've spent so much time complaining about others. But now God has forced us through another thing that we complain about, which is COVID, to see that there are ways to impact. Because I'm thinking for the first time, I have husbands who have never been in church, and now that we are in Zoom meetings in homes, I can say to a family, can you bring your family together for 1 minute so I can bless them in the name of the Lord? What a difference that can be. And that's what I'm going to do tomorrow night.
Amazing, Mr. Blair.
Yes.
We're baptizing people like crazy. Every Sunday morning, we're baptizing people.
Yes.
People are joining on the network, hearing about the gospel. People in America. One lady baptized her husband in her bathtub.
God is great.
And people are getting saved, and we don't have to go to their homes. You know how powerful this thing is, son? That every morning I could go to South Africa, I could go to Nigeria, I could go to Canada, I could fly over there, and it doesn't cost me 1 cent. I come on here and I don't have to put on a suit. Most time I'm sitting before my set, I have on a pajama bottom. It doesn't cost me to drive to Montego Bay. I can stay. I mean, Billy Graham, he had a symposium some time ago where he brought in pastors from around the world, evangelists from around the world, and he wanted to teach them the format of soul winning. And you know how much millions of dollars to bring these pastors, put them up in hotels,
to Amsterdam and so on. Yes,
there, give them food and everything. You know how much millions that cost? Man, if Billy Graham was here now, he'd be one of the happiest men, because he could stay right here in this bedroom and reach Sir Blair right here, there in Kingston. Reach means Spanish Town. Reach other people around the world from his bedroom. And so I think that this is a great opportunity. I think God tipped Mr. Eric Young, who developed Zoom. I think God, he's boasting about how many $1 billion he made. He made $40 billion in 3 months. That's Eric Young. Bill Gates is the second richest man in the whole world now. Why? Because he developed Facebook. He developed
Microsoft computers.
Right? And God literally tipped these guys. God, Mark Zuckerberg, I think God tipped them, because you see, all of this, hallelujah, all of this was here a long time. But because these guys developed the thing, God gave them the knowledge to develop it. God said, come on, guys, I'm tipping you because of what you have done, because this is helping the church now. And I think churches, I don't know which church is complaining now, because to me, I think we're in a better position to reach the world. We're in a better position to reach individuals. We can reach people in their bedrooms. People don't have to drive to church if they don't want to. We can meet them right in their bedroom. We can go into the hospital room and turn on Zoom, and people can be healed in the hospital room. People are getting healed just by the anointing going through the airwaves and touching lives. So I thank God for what God is doing in the new norm, in reaching people with the gospel of Jesus Christ. And I think he's setting things in place before he returns. And this is one of the mediums that he has opened up for the church. And I'm glad that it happened. Sorry that so many people died by this COVID-19. Wish it didn't have to come this way, but I think it's an eye-opener for the body of Christ, and I think all of us need to capitalize on it.
All right, so we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll be joined by Lawrence Madden, who's a member of the Christian Life Fellowship, Director of Evangelism, founder and the president of the Mission Center, and crusade chairman of the Errol Rattray Evangelistic Association. Certainly, a lot is happening there as that association is looking to march forward with evangelism during this new norm. So we'll be right back here on The Rock. I want to hear your comments, ladies and gentlemen. 997-3125 is our WhatsApp line. You can send a voice note, send a message, and also 876-968-8327 and 968-8328 is our phone number line. So when we come back, we also want to hear from you. So we'll be right back here on The Rock, your program on Love 101 FM.
Now you can boost digestive health with our new Fiber This Is Really Great yogurt, a delicious creamy snack, and now with fiber for extra good health. Now feeling great.
Stand by, Mr. Madden. We're coming up with both you and Rev.
We'll love you for it.
Okay, thank you.
New Fiber This Is Really Great yogurt. When you're good to your body, it shows.
How does government work?
Whom if you talk to in the street need paving?
The MP?
The mayor?
Who is a senator?
Where them do?
How does House of Parliament work?
A long time they don't come collect me garbage, you know. And whom if you talk to?
And how do I register my company in Jamaica?
I want name charity status.
Got questions? We've got the answers. Listen to Breaking It Down, Governance, Policies, and You. Learn about how things work and why things work, and how you can benefit. Breaking It Down, Governance, Policies, and You with me, Nadine Blair, Fridays at 6:45 a.m. on the Family Station, Love 101.
Boy, come when you hear this.
You need to know your rights and how the laws of Jamaica can help you defend those rights. That's why Under the Law is still serving you in its 48th year. The program comes to you on Love 101 FM on Tuesdays and Thursdays through the kind sponsorship of the Bank of Jamaica, building an inclusive economy. Under the Law, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6:20 a.m., 2:55, 6:45 at 9:10 p.m. on Love 101 FM.
Ready, set, register now as a private candidate for the May-June 2021 sitting of the CXC and Cambridge exams at the Overseas Examinations Commission. Act now. CXC registration ends Wednesday, December 9, 2020. Cambridge registration ends Tuesday, January 19, 2021. Call 876-618-3721 for details. The Overseas Examinations Commission, providing educational support for over 130 years with integrity.
Home alone with him again. Him say it normal.
Child sex abuse is never normal. In these challenging times, there is an epidemic of violence against women and children.
I feel so dead inside.
If you see it, hear it, report it. Call 888-PROTECT. A message from the Spotlight Initiative.
For the children.
Tune into a live 1 to 5 this festival to Tuesday, December 8th for an enriching encounter through powerful stories. Stay tuned for prayer blast at 2 o'clock. Inside the evidence at 2:15, Seychelle Hall will share her testimony of coming back from a setback. She got pregnant at age 15, battled rejection, suicide, and failure, but God turned her life around. Then at 3 p.m. we go beyond the pulpit of singing Pastor Bishop Aubrey Lewis of the Anointed Deliverance Apostolic Ministries in Montego Bay. That's a live 1 to 5 on the Family Station this Testimony Tuesday here on Love 101, the Family Station.
Where the student them see we are. Where the student see we are.
It's Tuesday, so that means Campus Connection is on. Be sure to tune in today, Tuesday, December 8th at 5:30 p.m. right here on the Family Station as we speak with someone who's been giving their time and dedication to education. The Ministry of Education, Youth and Information Mathematics Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Kelly Anderson from the Irwin High School. Where the students them there? Because we want to hear from you. So be sure to give us a call at 6 p.m. to share with us how you are preparing for exams, COVID and all. That's Campus Connection. Listen every Tuesday at 5:30 right here on the Family Station. Love 101.
Oh Lord, that's a one. Campus Connection. Oh no, no, no. Let me tell you.
So we're back with The Rock right here on Love 101. And we have some few comments here. Lou from Maryland says, there are still many ways that we can evangelize during this COVID period. We just need to make good use of what we have before us and evangelize through the various social media platforms. Angela was making a comment about a situation that she knows about, block making. Oh Lord, early o'clock in the morning and people using illegal light. Wow. Jackie says, with the new norm, as Christians, we have a chance to use the digital space, social media, to spread the gospel. Every Christian can do it, not just a selected evangelism team. All right, over to you.
Yes. Thank you for those messages. I also have some messages on Facebook, and should mention some of them. Norma says, we thank God for technology, which allows us to spread his word to the world. Elsie says, the gospel have to preach in all nations, and so God is using the internet to get the message across the world. Clark thanks us for the encouraging words, Rev, and there are a few more, a lot of amens and hallelujahs, what Bishop Edwards was saying. Marlene says, every one of us should have a passion for the lost. Then we will have a desire to evangelize. And I think that's missing because many of us are just so selfish. Clark says, most of the people who used to pay you no attention, which they could get, well, they can get your attention now. And Angela says, you have to know God for yourself. So in times like these, you're able to stand. I'll give you one or two more. Marlene DaCosta, Pastor, some of us as Christians lose out in this pandemic, and it's because of our people. It's because our people lack teaching of the word. And yes, the word preaches, but no effect on our lives because it's so emotional for so many people. And if I can just bring Bishop Rowan Edwards back on just one last quick time before I go to Brother Madden. Bishop Edwards, have we concentrated so much on the emotions of people that we have forsaken the depth of what they need as disciples, sometimes as preachers, especially since we have so many great preachers in Jamaica?
Yes, it's amazing, sir, that you said 10% of people are actually witnessing in the church. It's only the statistic has proven that it's only 6% of Christians that read the Bible. 6%.
So that's why they're not overcoming.
That's why not only overcoming, but they're not involved in soul winning because they're just a part of a church. And because they're just a part of a church, they're not grounded, not deeply grounded. And that is creating a whole lot of problems. That's why we're having some of the problems in the church. If the people were out there evangelizing, if they were out there reaching souls, listen, Jesus, as I said, he taught them 100% evangelism, 100%. All of my disciples must be out there on the street.
Yes.
Now, the whole saying is now, well, the way how we do things now is 90% of the people are in the church, while 10% are out there. So you see the flip?
Yes.
While Jesus was here, 100%. Now the church is only sending 10%, while 90% sits in the congregation.
Oh boy. Well, maybe that's why the Errol Rattree Evangelism Association is wheeling and coming again in this COVID time to make sure the church is not sitting still. I guess many of us are looking to discover, what do we do at this time? How do we share the gospel? Well, Bishop Edwards has brought along with him a face I recognize, Master Lawrence. Yes, I might not know the name quite well, but I do recognize the name. I think if I remember right, several years ago there was a Samaritan ministry that you were a part of, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
One of the top guys at Food for the Poor. You might remember him from Food for the Poor.
Yes,
He was one of the top guys there.
Yes,
So,
Steve, it's so good to see you, and I got greetings for you from Uncle Septimus.
Are you serious?
Yes.
That's my brother and my friend. God has blessed me with some good.
He said that, yeah. So
Yes.
he's looking forward to link with you, but he's in Bermuda.
Yes, Septimus was with me on several preaching engagements.
Yes.
I'm just one of those pastors who don't believe in church as usual, but I'm glad to have you. What is the Errol Rattree Evangelistic Association looking to do to move Jamaica's churches and to move our people to a place of evangelism during this new norm?
Okay, well, thank you very much for having me on your program, The Rock. It's actually my first time, so I have to let you know. Because,
we will have you again.
Yeah, I didn't know you're the one doing this program. I've heard of it.
Yes.
So I really give God thanks to you, and thanks to your producer, who I just had some good conversations with.
Kathy Gale, yes.
Kathy Gale, yes, wonderful name and nature. So it's good to be on this program and to be here with my friend, my brother, my mentor, Bishop Rowan Jack Edwards.
He loves to use the Jack, and every time he calls my name, he's throwing the Jack.
Well, you keep hiding behind RJ, so now we know what that means.
That's right, RJ. Okay, and Steve, let me just go off on that question. I've been associated with the Errol Rattree Evangelistic Association ever since I came back to Jamaica, because I spent a number of years in the UK, particularly in Brixton. I got there after the riots.
Yes.
And that riots is almost like a new norm. It was like COVID. And so let me just give you a little background as we look at this topic, because the lives of people were in disarray in Brixton. There were riots, people were burning, the police was rampant. And I left Jamaica at the time with a call from God to be a missionary in England.
Praise the Lord.
That's something that people don't understand. I think it's the other way.
Uh-huh.
But God showed me that what is going to be happening is that Jamaica will one day not become or continue to be seen as a mission field, but to be a mission force.
Yes.
And so he took me there so I could learn some things. And I got hooked up to a guy called Philip Mohabir from Guyana. And he was around in Jamaica during the time of the charismatic movement. He's a friend of guys like Peter Morgan, Tony Williamson. And he knows your father as well, and your uncle Wellesley. He speaks highly of them. Yeah. And then he said he was planting a church in Brixton. And so my first thing was part of a church plant. But would you believe that the church was not a building? It was not in any building.
Whoa.
And he planted a church in Brixton. And we were on the streets because the streets was in trouble. And when I left Jamaica, I was a sales manager for Nestle. Because I'm a marketer by profession, also a chartered accountant. I was discipled and mentored by Paulus Madden, who is, you would understand, was a guy who understands crusading and evangelism. He was the finance man behind most crusades that happen in Jamaica and in the Caribbean. A lot of people don't know that.
Okay.
And a very committed man in the Gideons. And he was my mentor. So when I went to the UK, I went also to study, but our church was in the streets of Brixton. And we would gather sometime together in the recreation center in Brixton. That's where we gather as an assembling of ourselves. And Philip trained a set of men, some from Jamaica, from Zimbabwe, Uganda, wherever the Lord sent people to him. Because I got hooked up to him like God sent me to him. And so I became one of those leaders or pastors in the church that was planted in Brixton. It had no walls, it had no name. We were in Brixton. Now my background in sports, because I used to run Los Perfectos Football Club when I was here in Jamaica along with Tony James in Mandeville. So I am always out there, right, with people. I'm always interacting. I'm a farmer, and my parents, so I'm interacting all the while. So
you sound like my kind of guy, man.
Yes, man. That's why I'm a radio, Sir Bridget. Bless up. And you know, I was into music, you know, with Septimus.
Yes.
And by the way, Septimus and Papa and myself, we used to be on the same sound system, Creation International. Yeah, Dirtsman and all them guys, you know, who has passed on.
Yes.
God bless him. So we were that kind of people. But when I went to Brixton, the Lord gave me the opportunity to go on a sound system. And because I understood it, I started playing reggae music. At that time, there were not a lot of gospel reggae music. And at some time, I got Lester Lewis. You know, every time I read my Bible,
my good
and I used to put that on a big sound and begin to play in Brixton, where we got the opportunity. And I played in the pubs on Coal Harbour Lane. You know, some listeners might be here and can hear. And I started playing alongside David Rodigan.
Yes.
And he gave me an opportunity. And my family in the UK was also in sound. Lord Gellies. It has my family sound in the UK. So I used that opportunity now to reach, and we have in England what you call community radios.
Yes.
Because you can't play reggae music on the regular radio. And then Grace Chillers put out some nice gospel, Jesus, Jesus. And I started getting these music now. And so when I'm alongside like Radical, I dropped those sounds. Yes, but at them time, Bishop's son wasn't around yet. And he had Lester Lewis, and he had I think it's Love Singers that came out of Maypen, and some Wisdom. And so the thing started to develop. So that's what I played in the streets of Brixton. So I got involved with sports, because I'm a sports person as well.
Yes.
And some of the guys you see playing in England now, some of the black guys, because there was a lot of racism that we came upon. And if you could look back in England, you would never see more than 2 black players on the England football team. There were some football clubs that wanted no black person, you're white. So we had to break into that with advocacy. So I have a different approach to evangelism for what most people have, because we think evangelism where you go somewhere and just talk and talk and talk.
Or
and
preach
talk.
and preach and preach, yes.
Feeding the 5,000, you know, talk and talk and talk. You get fish and bread and miracle work, and he give it to this side. He wasn't the one who distributed. He gave it to Peter and the others, right? Hothead Peter, I call him. And they distribute, and it is while they were distributing that the miracle happened in their hand. Those kind of miracles don't happen in a church building.
No.
So I am not the church building kind of person. I am on the streets. So just to say that the Lord used me with my knowledge of economics, etc., to set up small businesses for our own people, because a lot of Caribbean and African people were involved. The riots were real, you know, Steve.
Yes.
Right? Right there, you see car burning, you see all bomber drop, Molotov. But I was able to deal with it because when I left Jamaica, I was also a trained army man. I was an officer in the National Reserve. So I had an idea how to deal with these things. But I call Harbour Lane, Railton Road that they call at the time, the front line. I was there, guys selling them thing and them roll up. I didn't go there to condemn them, right? And sometimes, and I have been there and hear people, the first thing they will do is come and condemn a guy because him have him roll up. Yeah, I have to go out there and be with
Okay, so your phone,
them and to understand them, understand what they're going through, and let them see Jesus in me.
Okay, your phone's chipping out a bit here and there, your Zoom, but we have about 15 minutes, if so much, and we may have a call or two. So with all of that background and something I more than most will identify with in terms of bringing it all together, the background in sports. You mentioned that you kind of tickle me because I say that more men are on the church football field or the football field called church or the church called football field on a Sunday morning than in any church building in Jamaica. But somehow we as a church have not found a way, or we've not, I can't say found a way, we've not looked at the opportunities that God has given to us to reach out there and bring the change in the hearts and lives of these people.
Yes, yes. Well, some of the guys from my church, you'll find on a Sunday morning, they'll go and play football and maybe spend the whole day and maybe come to church or the church building after. So, but you have to train people to do that. The whole thing is that we have to be determined, we have to be dedicated, and we have to be disciplined. And so I think the discipline is something that we need to pay a lot more attention to. There are people in our churches who are professional, lawyers, doctors, whatever profession. But at one time, the culture of the church is that if you're not a pastor, or if you're not a prophet, or one of those persons, you're not recognized. But we need now to disciple everybody in their whole profession. So let me get quickly to why I hooked up with the Herald Ratchery. When I came back to Jamaica, as you know, Steve, I was in charge at Food for the Poor. And, you know, I got into that because that was something I was familiar with, and I'd worked with World Vision and so on. So what we've been doing is trying to reach out to the young, like the youngsters in school, the boys, and so on. I mean, go into them because they're not going to be coming to Sunday school and those unless you make special effort. And so we, over the years, the Lord had said, gather the evangelists and teach all the people in church to do the work of an evangelist. So it means that everybody must be taught how to share their faith. We are too much expecting people in church to be something that you have not taught them to be or to do. And that is not being taught as to how you can go there and share your faith. Evangelism is also how you do your work. How do you shine as light and as salt in your profession? Yeah, simple thing. I was teaching at my church to say to some people, when you go to work and you take home a pencil and the stationery and the toilet.
Okay, I've lost you again.
Right, that's not being a good weakness, right? And yes, singing the most, praying the most, but oh, you know, it's so-and-so taking the stationery, taking the toilet paper, taking the coffee, they shake it out in another thing and they go. So we have to make sure that the people are credible witness. So I have been with Evangelist Herald Ratchery in many crusades, been with the police, out in Maypen, and just working with him. So this year, we're hoping to have had launch in April, the gathering of the evangelists, but COVID changed that. So we quickly used technology. And I was trained in the UK as a marketer. I'm a chartered marketer and a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Marketing in the UK. Years ago, I did that, and one of my subjects was digital marketing, because they said there's going to become a digital age. And so you have to prepare yourself for it. It is inevitable. So I'm not surprised by the different apps and things that are with us now. But we had young people in our churches who were versatile, even those games and so that our young children are into. They have been versatile using all of these stuff.
Very quickly though, very quickly, is there something planned, or is there training planned, or what is it that the EREA, Errol Rattree Evangelism Association, has planned for this time?
Okay, well, there's a virtual crusade that is coming up on the 14th to the 20th of December, and it is using all the virtual space that we have now, like Zoom, YouTube, and Facebook, and also it will be over the media on Love FM, Love TV, and MTM. So we're using those blended approach. People are being trained as to how to counsel using the various platforms, how to use the Zoom rooms, because these are things we have to now teach our people as well how to utilize. So there will also be targeted aspects of the crusade. We have crusade speakers in the evening: Errol Rattree, Reverend Dr. Peter Gott, Reverend Dexter Johnson out of Youth for Christ, you would know well, Reverend Dr. Stevenson Samuels, and of course Bishop R.J. Edwards. They are the evening crusade speakers. We have a morning session as well, because new norm, so it's not only night you can have crusade. The prayers have already begun, and those have been spearheaded by Bishop R.J. Edwards, praying for the crusade, because there are people who have engaged, praying for revival, praying for reconciliation. And that continues during that time from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. every morning of the crusade. And there will be a children rally on Saturday at 3 p.m. and that is also utilizing the virtual space. And there will be a youth rally in the evening at 7, where there will be gospel artists that will be making presentation using their video approach. All this on the virtual space. And there will be a guest evangelist, Donovan Beersing, who you know has a heart for youth and young people and has been a regional director of Youth for Christ. He will be the guest evangelist for the youth evening. And it is sponsored, by Love TV, Love FM, Gospel J, and MTM. So that is, so training is going on now, Steve, to help people how to use these various technology that is here with us. And just to say, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Even if it is not invented by Christians, God is the one who is still large and in charge of everything that is out there. We just need to use them, because the message has not changed, nor the mandate has not changed, but he has given us various tools and methods that we need to use, and he has given us the opportunity. This is what COVID has now offered to us, the opportunity to use technology to the fullest. And for me, I think we are in a time when we need to really encourage the pastors to just be as effective as they can be, utilizing what God has given to us. And, just go, as the scripture said, go into all those spaces where we are. And my thing is, wherever we are, just be there, for Jesus. At home, in our community, our neighbors, our businesses, workplace, be there for Jesus.
Yes,
and represent him as a good ambassador.
Bishop Edwards.
Yes, yes, sir. I wanted to say that it's a national crusade, which means we're taking in the entire island. So we're targeting fraternals, all pastors across the island, JUGC, the various different umbrella groups of churches. It's going to be very impactful. So we have guest artists like Jermaine Edwards, we have Judith Gale, we have Keith Peart, we have Kevin Downswell, all of these guys, and then we have testimonies. We're going to have testimonials. So we're asking everybody to come on. It's 6 a.m. in the morning until 7, and then in the evening, it's 7:30 a.m. until 8:30. Now, how can you reach us? How can you reach us? Because it's vitally important for pastors who are listening at this moment. We want to send you flyers. And for people who are listening, get a pen, get a paper, because persons who are listening at this moment, you want to send the message to your pastor. It's a national crusade, first of its kind on this national scale in the island of Jamaica. So we want all churches to come on board. So maybe your pastor have not heard about it, but hundreds of you who are listening right now, Nadine Blair, please get a pen. I want you to make sure that you take this number down. Don't call, just text 378-0382. That's 876 before that. 378-0382. Text if you need to get a flyer. And then we also have a children's rally and youth rally on the Saturday, as Reverend Madden said. The children's rally is at 3 p.m. The youth rally is at 6 p.m. So therefore, you need to get all the young people, all the children, send it to children's organization. Let's get their kids on. We'll be on television. We'll be on Love Television, will be carrying us live. TV, Love Television and MTM TV carrying us live, and also Love Radio and Gospel JA. I want all of, no, not Gospel JA, I'm sorry, Love Radio. So we are looking forward for everybody to text me, please, at 378-0382. I want to send you the flyer. I need hundreds of you to text. So if I have to send your message to other people so that they can get your number, our team, so that we could send you the flyers. They're all beautifully printed. We have the children's flyer printed, we have the youth flyer printed, and we have the general flyer printed. So I want all of you. God is going to say, is saying something to this nation. We need to take men and women out of bondage of sin. You see how many people they're killing now? If every time the church ought to get mad and start to get involved in great crusades like this, I mean, it's every time we need to utilize the program, the world net, the internet. Come on, cast the net. Yes. Let's get people out there to be involved in this crusade. Call this number, 876, not call, I should say, text 378-0382. You're going to receive your flyers, and I guarantee you, you're going to love the speakers, you're going to love the singers, you're going to love the people who will give their testimonies. It's going to be powerful someday.
Okay, so Lawrence Madden, one more time. When does this take place online?
It starts on Monday, the 14th of December, and we go on until the 20th of December, 1 week approximately.
And this is beyond denominations.
Yes, beyond denominations, beyond just being in Kingston or Spanish Town. It's national, but you know, in the virtual space, you're global. So it's gonna be reaching far. As you have said, as Mitch said earlier, I was listening, we can go anywhere in the world right now.
Yes.
In the virtual space.
And you say there's gonna be, will there be any efforts by the EREA to, you know, one of the things that I really believe as a former YFC president and yes, one that supports Dexter Johnson 100%. Whenever he calls me and says, go and preach for me somewhere, I just say, okay, and I just put somebody to preach at my church. But the thing is there any hope for any kind of training for disciples across Jamaica or people to evangelize or share the gospel?
Yes, we have just done a symposium that was called a Gathering of the Evangelists. And we are on a move right now with what I call a 3D approach, is that we are going to discover people with that gifting, and we're going to disciple and develop them, and we're going to deploy along with, the church, the pastors, the church leaders. That's right across Jamaica, and we're doing the same in the Caribbean countries. So there's ongoing training after the crusade too.
We have, and listeners, I'm going to say something to you and to the two men of God here. This is a country with brilliant people. I look at the people who sell on the road, who make a living every day for themselves and their families. And I say to the Lord, we have people that can sell. It's so easy, therefore, to take the members that we have who are selling people. The Jamaicans survive and more than survive with the gifts they have and don't even realize that those gifts can be utilized for the kingdom. And this ability to sell means that they can I don't want to say sell the gospel, but share in the same format, with the same hunger and the same passion to look after their families. This gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to share this, and then I'm going to come back to Bishop to give a word of encouragement and prayer regarding evangelism to our leaders and to our people. Somebody listening today that says, I've never shared the gospel.
Yes.
How can you encourage them in 2 minutes to become an evangelist, to share this gospel?
All right. What I need for people to understand when we say share the gospel, what I encourage people to do is share their faith. Share what it is that God has done for you. Share where you're coming from and what he has done for you and what you would like God to do for them when you introduce them. I have developed a booklet called 1 Minute Witness, which is how to share your faith in 1 minute. Because sometimes the opportunity we have is just a minute. I interact with a lot of politicians in Jamaica as a function, and I use it 1 minute. So I want to encourage them to get over timidity. You don't have to go out there like a theologian or try to explain the Bible to anybody. Just talk about your relationship with your God and what God has done for you. Or more or less share your testimony and try and share it as briefly as you possibly can in a minute. And we have that training coming up, how to actually do that.
How does somebody get in touch with Lawrence Madden to get access to this 1 minute gospel? Because churches just don't train people anymore. It's just about having an exciting service. How can they get in touch with you to get more?
Well, I am happy to give you my number now.
Yes.
On your program.
Go for it.
We have had a good relationship, so I know that you will take care of me. So let me give it. It's 876-799-9731.
That's 876-799-9731.
Yes, and it's on WhatsApp. And I am the producer, as you know, Steve, of the Word for Today devotional. And if they get a hold of that, there is numbers and address in there that they can reach to me.
Okay. Thank you for joining us, my brother.
Yes, my pleasure. Or they can get to me through Bishop Rohan Jack Edwards. He is my friend, brother, and mentor.
Bishop Edwards, we're wrapping up another program, and we have 3 minutes. We've heard from Brother Madden that people just need to share their testimony, but what he didn't say much was, he's had a hand in football, he's had a foot in football, a hand in business, he's had a hand in music, and so in whatever avenue he's been, he finds a way to continue to use what he does to share the gospel. I want you to give a word to our pastors, Bishop Edwards, to encourage our pastors that are listening to go beyond church as usual. And I want you to do that in a minute and then use another minute to just pray for the Christians and the people who are listening, that they can indeed be bold in sharing this gospel of Jesus Christ.
Thank you, sir. The model that Jesus left us on earth is found in Mark 16, verse 15, when he says, "Go in all the world and preach the gospel to every creature." The New Heart English Bible said, "Go into all the world and proclaim the good news of salvation." Now, when Jesus was in here, the model that he left us is that he sends the entire group 2 by 2. Look at some of the programs that other religions have been using, like the Jehovah's Witness. They are using the 90-10 ratio. In other words, 90% of their people are on the street, while 10% stays behind to do administration. The Church of God, the regular people who is empowered by God, who has the anointing, who has the fire in them, we are using the same ratio, but in a different way. 10% is on the street, while 90% stay in the church and worship. I think God says to us that we should go in all the world. We should really reach people where they are, find them and tell them Jesus saves, whoever they are, whatever the backgrounds may be. Let's find them. Please, let's go in all the world. Jamaica is a free country. Let's capitalize on this before it gets worse. Some countries don't have the freedom, even America. They don't have the freedom like we have to be on the street preaching the gospel. We can be on the street anywhere. God has blessed us with a truck. Now we're mounting the truck. We're all over the communities now, just driving through, telling people Jesus saved while we're feeding them. I think God is saying something. The Evangelistic Crusade is here right on time. Please remember to call Reverend Madden or call me. Text me at 378-0382. If you need information on how you could get your people on board, pastors, please come on board. We need your help. Please text us and get the flyer in your hand. Get the letter from the Evangelistic Association. Get the letter in your hand and come on board. I'm looking forward on our set on Monday to see Steve Blair and Nadine Blair and all of you. Amen. Please, let's take it on and win Jamaica for Christ. I think Jamaica deserves to be won to Christ, especially in this time of crisis. We're giving people hope. Christ for the crisis.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Bishop. Thank you for joining us, Brother Madden. God bless you all. And we indeed want to see our people sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ. I just give a quick prayer. Lord, I thank you for this program today. I pray that your people will be inspired beyond themselves to share what you've done in their lives, to speak to their neighbors, their friends, their families, and their enemies about Jesus Christ. And I thank you for this ability to expand the kingdom that you've given to us. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to thank you for joining us today. Remember, you can write us at transformjamaica@hotmail.com. Tell us what you want to hear or learn or see on this program. And we want to encourage you to just continue to pray for the ministries across Jamaica. Remember, you can call me at any time. I do accept calls for prayer between 4 and 6 each evening. And that's 876-295-9141. I know there are other issues in your life. You can message. I'll call you. I have no problem calling you. Or you can call. If I'm busy, I will call you back. Thank you for joining us here on this program called The Rock. Obviously, always solid, substantial, and just for you. And thank you to our producer, Kathy Gale, to Nadine Blair in studio, and to the general manager and staff at Love FM for allowing us to do this program. It's a program pushing us forward. It's called The Rock. God bless you. See you next week.
Thanks, Sir Blair. God bless you. Nadine, bye.
Thank you so much for listening to The Rock, brought to you by the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Healthy people healthy environment.
Healthcare workers are working very hard to ensure lives are saved and people recover quickly from COVID-19. But
Thank you,
their work is
gentlemen.
getting harder because
Lawrence,
you're
I'll
not
give you a
wearing your
call.
mask, washing your
And
hands with
Bishop
soap and
will
water,
hook up.
or using
Thank you
hand
much.
sanitizer, and you are not maintaining physical distance. Let's limit the need for hospital beds and ventilators. Do the right thing. Cover your nose and mouth with a mask. Practice good hand hygiene and maintain a physical distance of 6 feet between you and others. COVID-19 is not over. Protect yourself while protecting others. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.